You know what that means. Okay, you know what that means, everybody. God. So today, I'm going to be going through 3 very short fan fictions written by WhovianPotterFan. This author has not written any Whovian Potter content. This is exclusively Twilight content. And I'm going to read to you all 3. The 3 stories we have today are Nessie's Child, Chemistry and Chemistry, and Tanya Drama. Let's dive in. So we're going to start with Nessie's Child. Now, if you aren't like me and you don't have an extensive knowledge of the Twilight universe, for your reference, Nessie is referring to the daughter of Bella and Edward, who's named Renesmee, which is an amalgamation of her 2 grandmothers' names, I believe, on either side. Yeah. Yes, that's it, yeah. And at the end of Breaking Dawn, when Bella gives birth to this child, Jacob, the werewolf boy, falls in love with the baby. When Nessie and Jacob give birth to a baby boy, Edward is surprised by their choice of name. So she has been in this marriage with this sexy Nana from Peter Pan. Babysitter, dog, lover. Really, what can't he do? He's coming! Oh my goodness, Jake, the baby's here! Shouted Nessie from her spot by the pool. Jacob immediately rooshed over to comfort his wife. Ness, calm down. Dr. Fang will be here soon. Try counting to 3, he replied with an air of annoyance. For the past week of her pregnancy, Jessie had been claiming to be in labor. God, women. Yet this time, it was real. Before Jacob had a chance to begin his calming ritual of counting, Nessie's body had contorted, and with a scream, the baby was out. Now, I would like to stop here for a second, just to say, now, I know this author personally. And I don't know if in 2014, if she had any idea how childbirth worked. But if we had the same health class, then she knows. It doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? Just as Jacob was beginning to freak out about the blood-covered child in his arms, he heard a whimper escape the young boy. Oh, thank God, it's not the baby's blood. And Carlisle rushed into the backyard. Wow, said Emmett from behind the coven leader. Way to wait for us. Oh, shut up, said Edward. I want to hold my grandchild. Have you thought of any names? Actually, we have one in mind, Nessie told him between breaths. We thought that, since you named me after both my parents' mothers, that we should carry on that tradition, but without Dad's. Edward, yelled a triumphant Jacob. Meet Billward. 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 That's it. That's the whole fiction. Thank you, WhovianPotterFan. Okay, so let's jump into one of theirs that I have not read before. Now, I did get the backstory on this particular fic. This is Chemistry in Chemistry by WhovianPotterFan on fanfiction.net, which is the greatest sentence. I'm very excited. Let's read the blurb. Bella and Edward meet their usual way in biology, but then biology turns into chemistry. And Bella just can't figure out this boy's motive. Completely alternate universe. Oh, this is from Bella's point of view. Okay. I'm Bella. But you all knew I was Bella. I'm from Washington. Oh. I'm so sorry. I was confused, to say the least. I knew I was in love with Edward Cullen, yet I doubted he would ever get the nerve to ask me out. All of my friends joked about the two of us having chemistry in our chemistry class, and I laughed along, always remembering how we met. Almost a year ago, in Mrs. Martin's biology class, I had met Edward. Now, according to the author, their biology teacher was named like Mrs. Martini. And I love the very subtle, like, oh, I changed the names to protect their identities. Poor Mrs. Martini is going into witness protection because of this fic. Mrs. Martin's biology class that I had met Edward. His green eyes sparkled as I moved to sit in my assigned seat next to him. He was wearing a duct tape tie, and I couldn't believe that someone a year older than me could still be so immature. Edward and I were lab partners, and we worked pretty well together. He wrote the stories of us getting attacked by zombies, and I drew the poster to explain our particular biosphere. Sweetie, I am so sorry if this is based on the real story, if this is how you actually met your boyfriend in 2014. Whew. We hardly talked. Then, one late night, I was standing outside school with my new boyfriend, a challenger. His name was Mike, and he was a Class A jerk. He was also almost 4 years older than me. As we stood there, reveling in our newly born relationship, girl, get out. Edward rode his bike by, and seeing Mike, he stopped. They had exchanged their hellos, and I realized that Edward and Mike knew each other. Mike suddenly moved forward to introduce me to Edward, but then stopped, realizing that we already knew each other. That was when I started to think that Edward could be cooler than I had originally thought. God damn it. 3 months later, Mike and I broke up. I comforted myself by sleeping more and trying to dream away the bad thoughts. That is beautiful. But that wasn't the only reason that I was sleeping more than usual. I had mono. Yep, I had actually gotten the kissing disease from my ex-boyfriend. It was a horrible next couple of months, but then I began attending school again and getting to know Edward more. We were now in chemistry together, and we still worked on every lab together with Angela and Emmett completing our group. Okay, I'm assuming that's Emmett from the books. I don't know who Angela is in this context. I don't remember an Angela in Twilight. So I'm just going to assume it's Anna Kendrick. Soon afterwards, Edward and I exchanged phone numbers, and since then, we had been texting on a daily basis. For a week or so, Edward had begun to sit next to me in chemistry. It was the best week of my year. We laughed, and he helped me on every assignment. By that time, I was enthralled by Edward. Every time I looked at him, I saw him differently. His face almost glowed, and I smiled more than I had thought possible. Of course, all good things must come to an end. Yeah, well, that was the end of the fic. That's a cliffhanger, if I ever read one. Whew! All right, WhovianPotterFan. We got one more here. This is called Tanya Drama. I'm very excited for this. So, let's start with the blurb because it is incredible. Tanya Drama. Bella is crazy. Edward is in love with 2 ladies. Tanya's likable. So again, in my conversation with the author on this one, she saw a lot of herself in Tanya Denali. She's one of the ones from Alaska. She's the one who lives in Alaska, who's definitely thirsty for Edward, who the author saw herself in. It's kind of a like you belong, like Taylor Swift, you belong with me situation, I think, is kind of what I'm getting from this. It was never my intention to break them up. They just weren't a good fit for each other. I mean, a vampire and a human? How crazy was that? I would have been better for him, especially if everything had gone my way. My name is Tanya Denali, and this is a story of how I broke up the perfect couple that was never really perfect at all. All right, first off, I'm hooked. First paragraph, I'm in. This is a mean girl, and I want to see her misery business, Bella's whole shit. It all started when I moved down to Forks from Alaska a few months ago. My cousins... All right, never mind, Tanya, you lost me. You lost me. He's your cousin. You lost me. My cousins, the Cullens, were living in Washington for the time being so that Edward could spend time with his girlfriend, Bella. Everyone else called her his mate, but I had to disagree. They couldn't be meant for each other. Bella wasn't perfect. I had overheard rumors about her and her scary past. Okay, she was mentally deranged. The girl who Edward considered absolutely perfect was really more of a monster than he was. Oh my god, this is dark. Oh my god. Okay, Tanya's a bitch. And like, by extension, WhovianPotterFan, my dear friend, you had some issues to work through in 2013. I bonded with Edward in one class we had together. We had something special. We talked every day after school. We hugged every time we saw each other. That's the most like middle school, high school way of being like, oh my god, we're in love. It's like every time you see each other, you hug. I hug like everybody all the time. But then everything changed. Bella transferred back to Forks High, where Edward and I were going, and she saw what we had. And that's just another great cliffhanger from WhovianPotterFan on fanfiction.net. So there's a lot to unpack in a Tanya drama. And I'm shocked at the venom that exists within this Tanya character, within this narrator. This is some kind of like unreliable narrator shit, which you could say, you know, okay, that's like some pretty like deep, interesting writing. Like, okay, Nabokov, relax. But like, it's beautiful. Just the hatred that high school girls have for each other is just brilliant. Brilliant. God, I love this.